Hello and welcome back to the Squirrel Heed YouTube channel and welcome to match week number 11 in the Premier League. And what a weekend it's been. It's been an unbelievable weekend. Got predictions pretty fucking wrong on most of them as well. Teams get turned over. Two obviously big ones. One being Liverpool, the other one Chelsea versus Everton. Unbelievable stuff. And I'm going to run through these games as they are on the screen right now. And this actually really did surprise me. Sunderland 2, Bournemouth 1, because I thought Sunderland, there's just nothing left for them. I just thought there was absolutely nothing left. I didn't think they were going to be able to pull anything out. They get a sending off in the game as well, but they managed somehow to pull out a 2-1 victory over a team that is no slouches. They are no slouches, Bournemouth, either. They play good football. They've got some pretty good football players in there. They play a nice style of football as well, a better style than Sunderland have played so far this season, in my opinion anyway. But Sunderland somehow managed to get a 2-1 victory over Bournemouth, a pretty convincing victory as well, and they needed it big time. They're still, I think, they're level on points with whoever's 19th right now. Don't exactly know, but I'll have a look at the table at the end of the video and we'll see where everybody is. But they're starting, if they can keep on pulling out victories like that, this is like Sunderland of old, but they're kicking it in maybe a little bit sooner. I'm still predicting that Sunderland will go down. Again, another slip for Bournemouth, and again, it's one of those, Bournemouth can't afford to have too many slips like this going forward. But a positive one for Sunderland. Doesn't take any pressure off, in my opinion, from David Moyes. I think that he'll still be under pressure, and rightly so. But it's a positive for them, something that they can celebrate, and that's what they need to be doing. Yes, they might have to grind results out, and they pretty much do that over the last couple of seasons anyway, but they're really going to have to put in a lot of hard work, because a lot of teams who are thought to be in and around them in that area are going to be putting in performances like Burnley versus Crystal Palace. Now we move into the Burnley versus Crystal Palace game, and this one did actually surprise me. You know, Burnley showed a hell of a lot of fight in this game to win that game 3-2 against Crystal Palace, who are quite a difficult team when they want to be. Unbelievable. But I did say that Pardew will have these moments where he'll win 5 games and he might lose 5 games as well. It wasn't in this last preview, I think it was the week before, that I said that about Crystal Palace. And it seems to be the way at the moment. They get in good positions, they get themselves some good goals, but they just cannot finish the games off, or they can't even just hold on to a draw, anything like that. Pretty bad for Crystal Palace. They need to change that around pretty damn quickly as well. Otherwise, they could end up seeing themselves whittle all the way down that table, because the way points are up and down the table right now, there is not a lot of difference, especially in that bottom, maybe the bottom 8, something like that, maybe even the bottom 10. I'm not entirely sure. Again, we'll look at the table at the end before we do any of that. But great victory for Burnley. Very, very positive. Now we move straight into Manchester City versus Middlesbrough. And I did say to a friend of mine, I thought Middlesbrough could do some damage to Manchester City. But I did not see a draw coming at all. Sergio Aguero gets his 150th goal or something like that. Might be wrong on that one. Could be even more. I don't know. I can't exactly remember. Gets a good goal. Fair enough. And you're thinking Manchester City's going to kick on. Just, you know, they had a pretty good lineup out for this game as well. Middlesbrough weren't having any of it. Middlesbrough come back, get a goal. Manchester City, at home, they couldn't kill the game, and they dropped vital points as well. They're 2 points behind the current leaders, Liverpool, and this is it. This is what I'm saying when I said in my Liverpool review, while I said there's no option or opportunity for us to really drop points, we should not be having to drop points or anything like that, or we can't afford to drop points. Neither can the teams around us, because that top 4 can change on one weekend, just like it has this weekend. It changed massively this weekend after these results. Manchester City, they are looking better, like a better football inside, but they need to be kicking on and killing these games off, and killing off teams like Middlesbrough, who they're not in the same league as Manchester City in terms of the players that they've got, the style of play. They should be destroying teams, but they're not right now. Middlesbrough looked dangerous in their previous games. They've got a draw today. Maybe that might be one of those where they can kick on with their season as well. West Ham versus Stoke. Man, West Ham, they seem like they can sometimes get onto a bit of a good thing. They score a good goal, then Stoke come back, and I think it was Bojan or someone like that. I can't exactly remember who the scorer was, and it finishes 1-1. One of those. I think it was a pretty flat atmosphere at West Ham from what I've seen of some vlogs. I do like to watch some opposing teams' vlogs, people that go out to the games and stuff like that. Watch the vlogs that they do and stuff, because you get a bit more of a feel, rather than just the match of the day experience or the Sky Sports BT Sport experience of the game. You get to see the fans' view as well and their thoughts on it as well. The atmosphere that doesn't necessarily get captured by TV, and it looked like it was a pretty flat atmosphere up until West Ham got their goal. Even after that though, it seemed to flatten pretty quickly. And Stoke, it's a 1-1 at the end of the day. It's not a loss for West Ham, but they need so much more than that performance. Then we move on to Chelsea. I'm looking at that fucking result. That's unbelievable. Chelsea at home to Everton. They absolutely smashed the back doors in Everton. Just didn't stop. They just kept going. They absolutely kept going. And it could have been more. It could have been 7-8-0. Everton they looked far too toothless. And I did say in my preview, I think I said it in my preview anyway, if it was either this one or the one before, not entirely sure, I don't greatly remember. But that the likes of Lukaku need to start creating their own chances, and they just couldn't. They were trying to get balls fed into them and stuff like that, and it just wasn't working whatsoever. They were not working hard enough, in my opinion. And it really, really does show the gulf in quality between Chelsea and Everton. And at the start of the season, I would not have said that at all. I thought that Everton had a good squad. They had a very good manager now, who has done great things at Southampton. It's not looking too great right now. He had a very good start at the start of the season with Everton. Kind of fading away a little bit. Maybe that impact of the new manager coming in is starting to fade away, and this is going to be now the building job that he's got. He's maybe not going to be going into the top 6 this season. Who knows? They very well could. They've got a lot of the season left to go, but unbelievably positive result for Chelsea. It is showing. It's unbelievable stuff. Ever since they moved to this 3-4-3 formation, they haven't conceded goals in the Premier League, and they still haven't, and they're looking much more potent in the attack. And that has only got to be a positive for Chelsea and the fans as well. Looks like Antonio Conte is the man that they definitely needed. If you go back and look at some of Chelsea fans' vlogs, and you see them slating the fuck out of Antonio Conte's tactics and stuff like that when he was losing. Now look at them, he's like the Messiah and stuff like that. And this is where you've got to give your new manager time. You shouldn't be expecting things to turn around exactly how you want them to be, winning all the time, going for the title every single season on the back of a new manager. It can happen. It's a rarity though. It's an absolute rarity, and I would say the same for Everton. While I'm obviously a Liverpool fan, if I'm trying to look at it as a neutral, you've got to give Koeman time. You really do have to give him time. He's a good manager. He's a very good manager. Give him time, give him the resources. He will build a good, solid team that could go somewhere. Just give the guy time. That's all I'm saying. Now we move into Sunday's games. The one obviously at the top there is obviously Liverpool versus Watford. I've done a separate review for that one, which is in the link below. All I'll say about it is that I'm very, very happy about it. Very, very happy about the performance, the result, everything about it. Yes, we sit top of the table right now, but let's not get too carried away. There's a long season left to go. Let's also be realistic about where we've been in the past. I'm very positive where we're moving in the future, where we're going to right now, but let's remain a little bit realistic as well. And the big one of the weekend, or the one that I build in my head as the big one of the weekend, turned out to be a bit boring, to be honest. It really did turn out to be quite boring. Arsenal versus Tottenham. Pretty much all I can say about it, really. Both teams. To be fair, actually, Tottenham looked like the better team on the run of the 90 minutes. Tottenham looked like they had... Christian Eriksen had a very, very good opportunity where he shot it basically too low. Very, very easy for Petr Cech to get to. They got a penalty. And an ahhing whether it was a penalty, but either way, they got a penalty. It's one of those. It's one of those games, actually, where Arsenal have got a draw out of this without even one of their players scoring. Tottenham scored 2 goals. Arsenal scored none. It's one of those, isn't it? But, look, it's one of those. Drop points for both teams, to be honest. Both teams needed to pick up 3 points. It's impossible for both teams to pick up 3 points in the same game. So they both went for a draw. And that's pretty much all you can say about it. They're both going to have to kick on. If they're wanting to either get into that top 4, challenge for the title, all that sort of business, they're going to have to kick on. Arsenal need to improve their performances because they played okay in the last couple of weeks and stuff like that. They've obviously got the talent. They've got your likes of Alexis Sanchez, Ozil, Iwobi's coming to the team, Sanchez going up front into a false 9, and then having the option of Giroud. Walcott on his day is a good player, but off his day he's very, very average. It's one of those. They've got a good defence as well at times. Koscielny and Mustafi. They've got one of the best goalkeepers in the league, if not the best goalkeeper in the league, in Petr Cech. It's one of those. They've got a good team. They now have to start utilising it because there can only be so many more years they can go without like getting to the summit of the Premier League. And this, with all the talent that they've got, the way they started out this season, they've got to be pushing on. Tottenham, on the other hand, yes, I think they're still unbeaten in the league, but they've got to be turning these. They've got to do the classic of turning your draws into wins, turning your losses into draws. Now, this is one of those. Yes, they did go behind, and they've turned that potential loss into a draw, but they had so many opportunities to turn that into a win, and it's a missed opportunity for Tottenham. Missed opportunity for both teams, if I'm being honest. Now we move on to Hull versus Southampton, and I thought that Southampton were going to run away with this one because I thought Southampton have got far too much quality. I thought that they're very solid at the back as well, but look, it's one of those. They had a good result in the Europa League, came back, fought back, got a good victory against Inter, and then they come to Hull, and Hull beat them 2-1. Hull get their first victory since August. Unbelievable stuff. Maybe there is a heartbeat left in Hull, and they could stay up this season. Southampton, it's a blip. It's one of those, but their performance wasn't good enough at the end of the day, and I think Hull fully deserve their victory. It's a very pleasing day for Hull fans, no doubt, and probably Mike Phelan as well, obviously, as the manager. But very deserved for Hull. Southampton, they need to have a look at that performance and see exactly what went wrong, because it wasn't good enough, to be fair. Then we move on to Manchester United versus Swansea, and Paul Pogba, got to give him credit for his goal. That's one hell of a goal. That really is one hell of a goal. When you look at it at the reverse angle as well, the way it was struck, the way the ball is spinning, how it is literally just a straight line towards goal. It was a really well taken shot, and you see many, many people take that shot on. And I'm not saying that Pogba would get that shot in goal every single time he took it, but you see that shot get taken and it flies into the stands or goes well wide. But that was a top class goal, and you've just got to be honest about it. It really was. That was a very good goal. Zlatan got 2 goals as well. They weren't obviously as once Pogba's hit that goal, it's going to be very difficult to get to the caliber of that goal as well. But he got 2 goals. It's going to do wonders for their confidence. Both those players have been getting hit in the media, either rightly or wrongly, depends on your point of view. They performed, they did well. You could argue that Pogba ran the show, really. He got a lot of passes, his passing percentages within the 90s, I think. Zlatan took his opportunities like he hasn't been taking in the last couple of weeks. That's what people are wanting, and if he can kick on from here, they've got 2 very, very dangerous players. That's going to start to hit form. Unfortunate for Swansea. Well, it's not actually. Yes, they did get a goal, but I still maintain in my mind that I think it was a mistake to get rid of Guidolin, their previous manager before Bob Bradley. Bradley, I'm not saying that he can't be a good manager. I just think it was an absolute mistake to go for someone. I think if you look at that, go back and look at the Swansea versus Liverpool game where we were having trouble against Swansea actually, and we came out with a 2-1 victory. In the end, but that first half we were getting absolutely destroyed. Well, we weren't getting destroyed, but we were dominated in that first half. We win that match 2-1, and then the manager gets sacked. Now, in my opinion, the performance that Swansea put in against us in that first half, if they'd have given him maybe a little bit more time, and against some of the teams around them in the league at the moment, he may have actually been able to turn those performances around and get a good result, and then build on that and build on it for the rest of the season. But I think it was just too quick, too early in the season for Swansea to make that change. But they've made their bed. They now have to lie in it. It's one of those for Swansea right now. I think when the fans are turning around saying singing, "You greedy bastards, get out of our club" to the new owners, troubling times for a Swansea fan, I've got to say. And then last but not least, we've got Leicester 1, West Bromwich Albion 2. And I was actually I was quite astounded by this result, actually, because I thought Leicester had far too much quality, but you can never underestimate a Tony Pulis-led team and the way that they defend. They're very, very solid. Leicester did get a goal, but West Brom come back with 2 goals. And Leicester right now we're going to look, actually, no, we're going to look at the table. Let's have a look at the table right now, because I want to just see what this looks like, because it's, I don't know if it's going to be concerning for everybody, but Leicester are now sitting in 14th place. That is not a place I ever saw Leicester sitting in. I really didn't. But they're actually only 2 points above the bottom 3. That's ridiculous. That is actually ridiculous. That Leicester are 2 points above the bottom 3. Now, this is what I'm saying before about the whole top 10. The top 10, there is 3 points between the bottom 3. Between place number 18 and place 10, where Southampton are, there's 3 points. Yes, there's things like goal difference and stuff to take into consideration, but that is absolutely ridiculous. No team in the league can take any chance of dropping points. They have to fight for everything. They really, really do. And it's unbelievable. That's where the champions are. It's almost like Chelsea when they won the league and then they're sitting down in, like, I think the lowest they got was 16th. Unbelievable stuff. But let's look at the table as a whole. Sunderland and Swansea are on now similar points. And if you consider how bad Sunderland have been, but then also how bad Swansea have been since they were taken over by Bob Bradley, that's quite bad for both teams. Sunderland may now have a bit of positivity after the win. Hull sitting on 10, but then you've got 1, 2 and 3, West Ham, Palace and Middlesbrough, 1 point away from being in that bottom 3 or being in place number 18. It could change that quickly. Then you've got Leicester and Bournemouth on the same points. That I would never have predicted at the start of the season. No way. Absolutely not. Then you've got Stoke, West Brom and Southampton all on the same points as well, on 13 points. And to be fair, Southampton have done quite well. They started the season all right. I think they did quite well. They had quite some clean sheets, came up against some tough games. Stoke are starting to turn it around when they were in the bottom 3 not too long ago. Now they're in 12th, but it only takes one mistake to go back in there. Burnley are really surprising me. They are really doing very well at the moment. Watford got obviously they got a pasting by Liverpool, to be fair, 6-1, but they're still in 8th. They did very well. They were 7th before that game. Everton, even though they aren't performing very well right now, are in 7th place. Man United got a well-needed victory, at level on points with Everton now. And then we get into the top 5. Tottenham are sitting in 5th right now. Arsenal and Manchester City dropped vital points. Tottenham obviously drew with Arsenal as well, so basically 5, 4 and 3, they all dropped points, or in the way that you might look at it for Tottenham, they gained a point instead of dropping 2 points. Arsenal definitely dropped 1. They could have been sitting top as well, but I actually think we would still be top because of the amount of goals that we scored in that game and goal difference and all that. Then you've got the top 2, which is Chelsea and Liverpool respectively, number 2 and number 1. Chelsea have done brilliantly. They have scored, I think, the most goals in the league, or they have the best goal difference in the league, should I say. They've got a very, very good defence, and they are very, very good going forward as well. Then you've got Liverpool, who don't have the best defence of all time, but we are scoring quite a lot of goals in some games as well. So we're doing pretty well. There's still a lot of time to go, and as I say, as tight as it is in the top 5, you just have to look at this bottom 10, really, from 10th right down to 18. These two, Swansea and Sunderland, need to obviously get a lot more results to get into the conversation of getting out of the bottom 3, but still, it's one of those. I do enjoy looking at the table and just seeing where people are, trying to predict where people are going to end up at the end of the season, but it's pretty impossible. But anyway, I'll pick that up in January when the January transfer window comes in, and we'll do another table prediction, see where everybody is at that point after Christmas, and hopefully it'll be a joyous one for us, Liverpool, but anyway, I'll try and be as non-biased as possible. That is the roundup of the Premier League for this weekend. It is all over. Check out the Liverpool and Watford review that I've put in the link below, in the description below, I should say. Check that one out because there's a separate one that I did for that. But if you've enjoyed this video, please drop a like on it. Subscribe if you're new around here. Comment anything that you thought about the weekend. How did your team do? Did they perform well? Did they perform crap? Let me know. Now, star player of the weekend, I went for Philippe Coutinho, right? And I still think that Philippe Coutinho was star player, and that's really, I'm trying not to be biased at all, but I thought he ran the show for Liverpool. I thought he did just a smidgen better than Hazard did for Chelsea, and Hazard played one hell of a game, played a game that you could see why he was PFA Player of the Year, or was it Young Player of the Year? No, it was Player of the Year. Yeah, so you can see why he was given that 2 years ago when they won the title. You can absolutely see that, and those performances he needs to put in for Chelsea to keep staying up there and challenging for the title as well. But I just thought Coutinho nicked it for me, and I just thought it was an absolutely magic performance by the little magician. So that's my thoughts anyway. Please like the video, subscribe if you're new around here. Thank you ever so much for watching, and I'll catch you later.